Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and it is, according to Brooke, the first day of winter here, December the 21st. Thanksgiving, Christmas week. Remember, it's a short week for us. We'll be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll be closed Thursday and Friday. Then, of course, next week it'll be New Year's. Open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, close Thursday, Friday. And then after that, we'll get back to our normal schedule. But wow. AllAmericanGold.com is the website. If I haven't given out the phone number, I know you already know it, but 800-951-0592. What a last, 12 hours? A little over. About sometime late yesterday afternoon, early evening, depending on where you live, the government got together finally and passed another stimulus. The amount just over 900, just short of $1 trillion. Very much what we expect. Remember, we were talking Friday about just that. They didn't quite get it done on Friday. Passed a 2-day extension to keep the government open. Now it's going to be open longer. And remember, there has been no budget passed. When it finally does pass, which is going to take Congress a day or two, but don't worry. I know you guys were worried about it, that our elected officials may not make it home for Christmas. They'll be home for Christmas, so you can all rest easy. I know you were worried about that. And then we'll see big jumps in the debt and all those other things. But $900 billion. We had a big rally in gold last night when I went to bed. Gold was pushing up on 1900 early in the morning. Gold was 1900 and change, like 1906, 1907, something like that. Because, I'm one of those guys that, I'm 50 now. So, unfortunately, I do wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Those stupid commercials got me on that one, too. And so I always take a quick check to see where gold is. And then I go back to bed, and I woke up, and it couldn't have been a couple of hours. And all of a sudden, gold had fallen all the way to like 1850. Now, of course, it came all the way back. It's all the way. Gold's pretty flat. And I was like, wow, because, gold should be flying with the stimulus. And I'm like, what's going on? I hurried up, got ready, came into work to try to figure out what something big had to have happened. Dow's down 300-400 points. And they're talking about the COVID mutation. Yep. And again, we are wondering about, mutations, vaccines, and of course there was some bad press about the vaccine over the weekend. And just to make sure that everybody's going to get it, yes, this mutation in the UK, which by now, they've already said now it's pretty much spread everywhere. Right, because people have been flying around, whatever. There's been people trying to get out of London, out of the UK in general. It's already now, I guess they're saying it's in Europe now, and I'm sure it's here as well. That now the virus is even more contagious, 70% more. And I'm like, wow. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm sure it did. But did you just find out about this last night? How do you know it's that more contagious? How long have you been tracking it? Right? All these other things come into my head, but that has everybody nervous. I haven't seen a travel ban to the UK. Do I kind of expect one, I guess. I don't know. At least the markets are expecting one. Not really sure. Immediately, though, don't worry. They had Dr. Gottlieb. I'm sure they'll have Fauci later. Dr. Gottlieb, the guy that led the charge for the first time America shut down. He was out on TV to let everyone know this morning, hey, don't worry. It's going to be very difficult for these mutations to outsmart the vaccine. And I don't outsmart is probably not the right word, but yes, don't worry. The vaccine's still going to be fine. But that was the big move that's happened, like I said. So between early in yesterday evening up to early this morning, a lot of stuff happened. A lot of things happened. I'll tell you when we get back, though, we'll talk about stimulus. I'm going to tell you what's in it, what's not in it, what can we expect. And then I'm going to tell you, we also now, here's the good part. We have a time frame for the next round. Because remember what I told you, this is a two-parter. Right, this was a real quick, let's get money because everyone's going to run out of unemployment benefits at the end of the month, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to get ready to do a bigger one after the inauguration. And I can now tell you the time frame for that. So a lot of things to talk about today. I know it's Christmas week, right? Everybody's out there trying to get those last-minute gifts and all that stuff. There's a lot of important financial things happening as well. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Like I said, Dow's under pressure. We got normally we'd have a weaker dollar today because of the passing. Well, I guess we've got a deal. It still hasn't passed yet. It's going to. Still hasn't passed yet, but it's going to. But we actually have a little bit of a dollar rally because the pound, i.e. the UK, a lot of trouble there. They're talking about a complete shutdown now of the UK. Warnings now of possible travel bans as they're saying a mutated strain of the coronavirus, one that I don't know how, apparently they've known about it for longer than we have. Because they're saying it's 70% more contagious, so not more lethal. That's the good news. The good news is they maybe they know. I don't know, but apparently they're saying, hey, listen, it's way more contagious, but it's no more deadly. So not that either way, not that that's good or bad, but I expect you'll see the vaccine push coming. Just to make sure that they finish the job on that. Speaking of the stimulus, what's in it? So part of it is the extension of unemployment benefits. This was a big one. These benefits were going to expire this week. And for some of you, if you're in that category, they didn't act quite fast enough. There will be a gap in your checks if you were one of those people that was already exhausted and you're on the emergency programs. We'll talk about that. But here's what's in it. So they're going to extend the emergency program lending. So remember, if you became unemployed, normally you'd get 26 weeks. If you were a 1099 employee, or if you were a part-time employee and didn't work enough hours, normally you wouldn't you're not eligible for unemployment. The government has allowed for you to collect unemployment. And by the way, that's the biggest piece. This is the piece, like on Thursdays when we talk about jobless claims and blah, blah, blah. This is the piece that they don't tell you about when they say 6 million Americans are unemployed. Because there's 14 million Americans in the emergency programs, because mostly 1099 and gig workers, right? So first and foremost, that's going to get extended. Also being extended for those that were actually eligible for unemployment, but you've exhausted the 26 weeks, that is being extended. In addition, if you were eligible for unemployment under normal rules, you will get an extra $300 weekly in your unemployment check. Now, that's only the 6 million or so that they say would normally fall under the unemployment rules. The other 14 million, some of you, and I don't know who, some of you will get $100 a week. Now, here was the important part. How long? Because that's going to tell us when they expect the next round of stimulus. For us, and I say us, if you're a gold and silver holder, the news was better because everybody was talking about, at least before the bill got passed, well, I keep saying passed, that they had an agreement that this was going to last through essentially tax day, through April 15th. It got much shorter than that. They're only going to do this for 11 weeks. So that means we'll have to have the next stimulus bill about a good month and a half faster than I originally thought. So we now have a timetable because these benefits run out in 11 weeks. Also, the extra money, not retroactive. So a lot of you out there that are collecting unemployment, you haven't been getting extra money now for a while. That is not retroactive. So you won't get a bigger check because, hey, well, I haven't been getting an extra $300 for 2 months now. That's not retroactive. Also in there, the government's going to send people checks again. So this was something that wasn't in the legislation a week and a half ago. In order to get a deal done, it got put in there. Here's how it works. If you're an individual and you make less than $75,000, you're going to get $600. If you're married and make less than $150,000, you get $1,200, $600 a piece, and then $600 in addition for every dependent, right, for the kids. So about half of what we got last time. Remember last time it was $1,200. This time it is $600. But still, so and there's parameters on that as well. Depending on how much money you make, you may not be getting it. But if you make, and again, you don't have to be unemployed. And is this the greatest use of money? No. And I think a lot of us out there are like, well, listen, if I'm out there and I'm working and I didn't get a pay cut, or I'm making just as much now as I did before the pandemic, you probably shouldn't get anything. But it's government. This is how they operate, right? And they all want to get out there. Well, again, too, this is going to be a little boost to the GDP in the first quarter of next year as people get more money. When are you going to get the money? Checks will probably make their way out. My guess is, Mnuchin's going to try to get them out as quickly as possible. It's sometime early January. That's fair to say. Sometime in early January. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff in there. The airlines, they're going to get $15 billion, right? So more bailouts there. $284 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program that provides those other grants, the PPP for the small businesses. $82 billion for education. That always seems to be, at some point, and I've always been wondering this. Every time there's an election, and I mean every time, right? There's some kind of override or initiative to give the kids money. Right here in Arizona, we passed a horrible piece of legislation. I can't believe it passed. But again, this is how many blue staters have moved to Arizona, where they're going to tax small businesses more to give more money to the schools. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, how much money do we keep giving them? And you got to understand, it's such a cruel thing that they do. You know, they pass these things to give more funding to the schools, and then on the general fund, they just give them less, right? So they don't end up with actually very much more money. But again, and I hate to say it, pension plans killing the public schools out there. $82 billion for schools in this bill. $54 billion for K through 12, $22 billion for colleges. Governors would get $4 billion to spend on education aid at their discretion. I don't know what that means. For-profit colleges would get $900 million for grants to students. Another $1.7 billion set aside for historically black colleges, tribal colleges, minority-serving institutions, $10 billion for child care. So, and again, that's just little things you don't realize we've been paying for all along. $15 billion in grants for theater operators, right? Gotta bail out the movie theaters. And I get it, right? I mean, you probably do. $25 billion in rental assistance and an extension on the moratorium on evictions. There you go. Now, I don't know if that's for just people renting or if that's for the mortgages as well. Again, we won't really know the truth behind it all, but we'll have to wait and see. But there's an extension on the moratorium on evictions. $13 billion in funds for food stamps and children nutritional benefits. Man, how many people are on it? Right, so another $13 billion. You know, we're already 2020. We set a record for food stamp spending by about 50%. Now they're allocating another $13 billion to the program. We hit $120 billion for fiscal year 2020 in food stamp spending. $30 billion for the procurement and distribution of a COVID vaccine, as well as testing and contact tracing. Wow. $1.8 billion in tax credits for businesses to provide paid leave. And of course, any fiscal stimulus with nearly $1 trillion, lots of pork in there. Like I said, $15 billion to the airlines. Now, part of the condition there is the airlines will, in theory, and I say in theory because I don't know, the final legislation hasn't been written, allow them to return more than 32,000 furloughed workers to their payrolls during the 11 weeks. So I guess we can try to pretend that these 32,000 people aren't unemployed. Let's see what else is in there. They're talking about more airline assistance there, blah, blah, blah. $45 billion in COVID transportation packaging. Because you got to remember, you got to store this stuff in super cold temperatures. $1.75 billion for airports. $200 million for airport concessionaires. Which, again, I've been to the Phoenix airport, and it's like a ghost town. So I get that. $2 billion for private motor coaches, school buses, and ferry industries. $1 billion for Amtrak. I wonder how much Amtrak's gotten over the years. Just curious. $14 billion for public transportation systems. Right now, remember, this is mostly going to go to the big cities like New York and Chicago and all of those things, because no one's riding the subways. $10 billion for state highways. Is also expected to include significant changes for how the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, certifies airplanes. Okay, so that happens sometimes, right? You got to attach some stuff to the legislation. But that kind of gives you a good idea of what's in there. Like I said, I think for us, because we knew this was going to happen, now we have a timeline for when we're going to see the next round. So, I think very, very bullish for the gold markets because it's a much shorter bill. But that just tells you $900 billion just doesn't go as far as it used to, does it? It goes about 11 weeks. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
Yes, ma'am.
800-951-0592. Gold's down like $3, 1882, 1883, maybe $2 now. Silver's on a charge, up about 35 cents, 36 cents, $26.25 to the ounce on silver. Again, we're sitting there looking at these markets. Where are we headed? The dollar, again, we're getting ready. The next leg down. Today's news, normally, like I said, would be dollar negative because there's another $1 trillion of debt that nobody can buy, right? I mean, let's be honest. We know now that in the next, say, 3 months, look for another round. I anticipate that one to actually be bigger because I think that's where the Democrats are going to try to get the bulk of the money for all of these states. And that's the other thing. Taxes are going to be brutal. Be ready for tax increases in a lot of these states, especially the ones that have re-locked down, if you will. The math just doesn't add up, right? I mean, it's fairly simple to understand. And then circle this day. Here's another day, January 4th. And I think that's the right day. The day of the Georgia special election. That one's going to be very, very interesting. Very close. People are starting to, I think, at least for me initially, I'm like, I think the Republicans are going to win. One. There was a good chance we could have lost one because one of the runoffs, it was really, really close. The Republican had won, but the Democrat was really close. The other one where I think the preacher, where he's running, in that one, there was multiple Republicans running. And if you had added up all of the Republicans, the Republicans had won by a pretty good-sized margin. That race has gotten a lot closer. So now I'm a little nervous about it. I thought going in, we had a good chance to win them both, but I thought we had one in the bag. Now, I think it's a toss-up. If they both go Democrat, you'll definitely listen, put in, and I'll just say this as a rule of thumb because we don't know what's going to happen. I'd be putting some gold away between now and that election. Add to your portfolio. I'm not saying, hey, go all in unless you've got some insider information and you know for a fact the Democrats are going to win them both. Put some gold away. If that happens, if the Democrats win them both, you're going to see a huge move down in the dollar, a huge move up in gold. Silver's going to go with it simply because now the Democrats have the votes for stimulus 2. In other words, doesn't matter. They're going to get what they want, and we'll see a package in the trillions. and be able to get it passed. Because, again, that'll put the Senate at 50-50, of course, and then the Democrats hold the tiebreaker with the vice president. But when we look at where are we for, small businesses, because it's kind of clear, isn't it? Small businesses are the ones that are going to pay the price. Most of the big businesses, outside of some retailers, are going to be out there. We are actually out. We do this every year because my sons and I, we go to the what we'd call a standard mall once a year. I have ruined them. To the ladies that they end up marrying, I apologize. It is my fault. They will probably be bad husbands when it comes to gift giving because we just don't do it. But we actually we're like, should we do it? Not do it? And I'm like, we're bored Sunday. So we went to the best mall in Arizona, Fashion Square Mall in the heart of Scottsdale. This is when you talk about dead malls and malls that this is one of those. This is a crown jewel in someone's portfolio. I was shocked. It's massive. Thing is huge. Still plenty of stores open in there. But the amount of available space was alarming. And this is the best mall. My wife even said, hey, they're doing a good job of covering it up. Because the empty shops, what they did is they put these graphics on the window so you can't see in, and they have like presents and this and that and blah, 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 and little displays in the windows to try to cover up the fact that, hey, there's no stores here. And then you had the stores with the lines, and there was only a couple. The one that stood out, Lululemon, that was the biggest line in the mall, was Lululemon, and that had, I don't know, 10 or 15 people in it. And it's so funny, right? You're supposed to say 6 feet apart. And they have these, nobody's 6 feet apart. I mean, it's almost comical. Because even though they had here's a circle where you're supposed to stand. And then apparently there's this other circle that's 6 feet away. The problem is most people weren't there by themselves. Like me, I got me, my wife, my 2 kids. We can't fit in the circle. Let's face it, I'm big enough. I don't fit in the circle. And I was just looking, and everyone's got their mask on, all that stuff. And I looked to my wife, and I said, well, how far apart do you think everybody is? And this line is, like I said, there was probably 30 people in the line, but representing, like me, counting my family as one, right? But there was 30 people in line. Okay, and most of them, like I said, it was mom and dad, maybe a couple of kids, or maybe it was 2 or 3 kids together. What you know what I'm saying? How far away you think everybody is right now? It couldn't have been a couple of. Put it this way: I could reach my hand out, touch the person in front of me's back. I could reach the other way if I wanted to, and touch the person behind me. We couldn't have been a few feet apart. I'm just laughing, right? This, look how safe we're being, And they got, people at the front of the store running the lines and all that stuff. And I don't know. I will say this: we spent very, very little time there, and we left. And what was so funny was, it took us about 2 minutes to get out of the parking lot. When we did this last year, it took about 30 minutes. Tells you how few people are really out there. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be talking about small business. That was I got sidetracked. Small businesses, why we need the money. That's coming up next. 800-951-0592. Quick update. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, I guess, just held some emergency press conference, letting everybody know, hey, we're going to start sending out checks next week. Okay. There you have it. Get that money out there. Again, Are they going to mail it? Because if they're mailing it from the post office, it's going to take a little longer. But maybe they have all the intel from the last time they did it, so they can remember. Because last time it seemed like it took 6-8 weeks for people to get their money. But again, who knows, right? Wink, wink, nod, nod. If one person gets a check next week, I guess it started. But that's helped out. Gold 1886 now. The Dow's only cut its losses in half, down $150. Crude oil is down a couple of dollars. But crude's had a great run. Right? Crude oil is approaching $50, almost getting back to profitability here in the United States. But it's down on obviously news about the mutant strain, if you will, that is occurring in the United Kingdom. But before the break, we were talking about small business. Here's what the numbers are saying. 38% of small businesses say, hey, I can go on indefinitely. Okay, put Patriot in that camp, right? This Patriot's small business. Put Patriot in that camp. Problem is, that leaves 62% that says we can't go on indefinitely. And I don't know what the number would be normally, because I'm sure at any point in time there's a certain number of small businesses like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go out of business. But my guess would be that number would probably be 20% or less. Don't you think? They're saying there's 30 million small businesses in the United States. So again, when you talk about employment, look at the airline industries. They furloughed 32,000 people. And I don't even know the total number, but I think we've given them close to $50 billion now. There's 30 million small businesses. Right? I mean, it's not even close. Now, granted, we give small business. It's not like we haven't given small businesses money. We have. Of course, we know the last time, wink, wink, nod, nod on what was small. But think about this: 62% say we're getting ready to go out of business. That's nuts. And I'm just trying to run a calculator here on thinking about how many is that's 18 million small businesses. They said that 74% of small business owners need further government assistance. According to the most available numbers, 35% of all businesses, small businesses, did not pay their rent in December. And again, there's the moratorium, I believe, has been extended now. They're saying 61% of restaurants did not pay. By the way, in November, that was only 42% of restaurants did not pay. So that's a huge jump. 35% of U.S. small businesses couldn't pay their rent this month. It was 32% in November. Beauty salons, 46%. Hospitality, I'm assuming that's the hotels, 43%. The top three most affected businesses, restaurants, beauty salons, hospitality. The women-owned, minority-owned, kind of in line. Really nothing bigger than any other, whether it was minority-owned or if it was women-owned. The numbers still extremely high. So we're seeing poverty rates surging, right? We talked about that the last time we talked, that a family of four making less than $26,000. That's considered poverty in the United States. 12% of the population and rising. So these are the numbers. So $300 billion more dollars in PPP assistance. Any of you small business guys out there that are getting the runaround from your bank. Now, I don't know when that starts. But when it does, if you have issues, call me and I'll give you a bank that can help you quickly. And because they did it for me back the first time. So I just wanted to throw that out to you. When we get back, the final segment, I've got an item we'll talk about. It's a good item here that will run on sale today. And take care of business. Like I said, it's going to be a short week this week. The week of Christmas, we are going to be closed Thursday and Friday. And again, remember, closed next Thursday and Friday. But someone will be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to help you. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Eight hundred 9510592 Patriot Radio News Hour. France, Germany, Italy, Ireland, the Netherlands have banned all flights from the UK. Canada, India, Israel, and others have imposed new measures. I don't know what that exactly means on flights from the UK. So far, I haven't seen anything from us. If you're just joining us, the mutant strain that's 70% more contagious, no more deadly, just more contagious, has caught everybody off guard. The gold and silver markets have turned the other way now. Silver having another good day here. Silver's up, like I said, up by almost 40 cents now, $36.30. I got rolls of U.S. half-dollar rolls at $210. So this was a price that we had on Friday. I'm ignoring the move today. We've got at least 75 rolls or so of half dollars. They're at $210 a roll. And then I have another small amount, about 25 coins total. Last week, I ran those Mint State 63 $20 Liberties. And I told you got to buy them now because they're going to be gone. They were gone. I don't even think they made it 20 minutes. I've got 25 more of them today. They're at $22.80 today. So as the gold has been moving up, $2,280, but there's only 25 of them. But I've got them this time. 800-951-0592. The gold side, like I said, gold getting ready here. Depends on where you look. Gold's anywhere from even, unchanged, to down a couple of bucks at 1833. The Dow is down 140 points right now, again, as stimulus was overrun by the shutting of the borders, predominantly from Europe, in regards to the UK and this new, apparently more viral, easier to catch coronavirus strain that had come out of the United Kingdom. I don't know. Here's what I do know. Round one of stimulus, done. Another, let's round up another $1 trillion of debt that we can't get rid of. When it finally passes, there's behind this bill, there's an agreement to pass the budget. So we'll see a jump in the national debt because of that, get a little more accurate depiction of what's happening out there. Then we have the January 4th special election, right, the Georgia special election. And then we also now have, what's the timetable for stimulus 2, and it's really not stimulus 2, but like I said, I'm counting this the stimulus bill they just passed here. I've been telling you guys this for the last 3 weeks. There's another one coming. That one, it looks like within the next 3 months, because that's when all of this stuff, the $900 billion gives you another 11 weeks. So I think very good setup for gold in the first quarter of 2021. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.